Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. This is, and I quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote Channel, and our guest on this episode is indie author extraordinaire, Jolene Fine is here. Hello, Jolene. How are you this evening?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Very happy to have you here, Jolene. We're also happy to have you here who may be watching or listening to this right now. So do not forget to like and share this episode with all of your closest friends. If you're watching us live or what is known as a replay, thank you so much for doing so. And if you have any questions for our guest of honor, Jolene, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to hear from you, respectively, as they come in. With that piece of business out of the way, Jolene, what would you say were some of your favorite books or writers growing up as a youngling?
I love The Giver, and I love The Scarlet Letter. I am a huge Nathaniel Hawthorne fan, so anything by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The House of the Seven Gables, very underrated. Like, yes, Scarlet Letter is great, but The House of the Seven Gables, yeah, it needs to be talked about more.
That's the first time I've ever heard that title mentioned before. I've never even heard of this.
Yeah.
So learn something new every day, folks. That's one of the best things about these types of programming. Excuse me, fantastic stuff. What would you say are some of your favorite movies, past or present?
Okay, it's going to have to be Stargate. I know you're like a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm not but if I was going to pick my favorite sci-fi series, it's Stargate. One, I got to see it like in the theater, and so it has that thing. But I love that the worlds are the other alien worlds were human, and that really related to me and impacted my writing. And so there's like these holograms, or like in the world, they go through like gates, and they go on missions. And in the Kalani trilogy, they actually go through like the mists of despair. I'll show you my books, and they battle these shape-shifting demons. And so it's kind of like they go through like a portal, and so there's a lot of similarities where they're fighting the mission, the people with the mission. And so, but instead of staff weapons, I've got like faith magic, and they're wielding light against these shape-shifting demons, and in the darkness, and trying to rescue the lost souls and bring them out of the portal back to this utopia dystopian world of Kalani. Well, also, like in Stargate, I loved the Wraith. And so the Wraith were amazing enemies because they roamed the galaxy, basically like evil spirits. That's how I envisioned evil spirits in my mind. And they suck the life force out of them. And they're like a hive mind, right? And so my shape-shifting demons are they're not like the Wraith, but they shapeshift, and they suck, and they feed off of depression, and they go through the galaxy, and they try to corrupt the children of Magnar, which is like God's children, And my villain right here, who is the volcano goddess Arai, which means twisted, and she runs this demon army. So she is also in this book because it's a standalone for the same series, and this is how like the gods became the gods, and how they started the Great Divide, or as we Christians realize it, as the war in heaven.
Oh, I got you. I got you. The only familiarity with Stargate, now I am familiar with, I know of the movie, I know of the series because there's been like 30 of those things. The only one that I've seen personally, the only one I have any experience with is the lesser of all the parts of the Stargate universe. But I still enjoyed it for what it was when I watched it on DVD. Stargate Universe, SGU, I really liked it. I know a lot of people throw it under the bus, but I liked it. It was the first full-fledged series I've seen of Stargate, but I know. I got to go back and see the originals, the SG-1s, the Atlantises. Plus, I'm always been fascinated by the lost city of Atlantis, so I got to check that out too. So,
Universe,
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but I did
Hmm.
see it. I mean, I have watched the entire, two seasons,
Hmm.
like 3 times, but that's nothing compared to Atlantis. Atlantis, okay, so the movie obviously is the best,
Hmm.
but after that, I'm going to say that Atlantis was better for me, because that's where you see the wraith in SG1. You actually the enemy is the Gould, which are people who have like this like serpent in their tummies, and but it's also kind of like the same concept where someone like the snake is controlling a human, like, so you still kind of see like the Christian aspects. I see them everywhere. I don't know about you. I see them everywhere. I can't like get rid of them in my mind.
Well, I haven't, like I said, I need to go back and watch some of this stuff. Maybe it'll start to, I'll start to draw some of my own conclusions in my own mind. But I'm looking forward to watching it. Stargate, the original
Right.
movie, and then the series, and all that kind of jazz. Plus, Richard Dean Anderson. I grew up watching him as MacGyver. So
Oh,
yeah, I grew up watching reruns of MacGyver, so I know who Richard Dean Anderson is. I know a lot of people say that SG1 is like one of his best performances. I can't comment or speculate because I haven't really seen much of it.
I hear
But
you.
I grew up watching him with the long hair and the
Uh,
brown coat and just, yeah, exactly, just getting himself out of tricky situations with a paper clip and a stick of chewing gum or something like that. So why, you got some?
right.
So way to go, RDA, Richard Dean Anderson. And he does some shows too. So if I ever get a chance to see him at a convention, I'll be like, yo, just want to let you know, man, I grew up watching you as a little kid on reruns of MacGyver. I just got to tell you straight up. So,
Yeah. So another show, the sci-fi, more recent one that people can relate to is Shadow and Bones.
hmm.
Shadow and Bones, I loved the books. I
Ah.
didn't necessarily like the TV series as much,
Hmm.
but I bring it up because if you love Shadow and Bones, you will love this trilogy because we have like a reluctant girl who's coming into like her powers. There's a dual point of view, so there's like a reluctant girl and then a guy who's like, "Oh, I'm here to rule," like I'm here to fight demons. So it's Zach and Desiree, and you need them both in order to actually fight the demons and get people out. So unlike a lot of, chosen one, it it needs both of them. It's a like a complement kind of thing.
Ah, I got you. Playing off each other. I see that.
Yeah, they have to.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
I
can't
get it.
actually save a person with
Mhm.
only one of you,
Well, it takes teamwork to make the dream work, folks. Don't forget
right?
about that one. I mean, that's an old saying that goes back to a very, very long before I was born. But I'm not going to date myself here on this show, not just yet. With that be, gee willikers. With that being said, when did you decide to become a writer?
A very, very long time ago. So I was raised in the foster care system,
Hmm.
and I wrote a lot. So one of the first things that I would do is I would escape my world. I was separated from my sisters, and I would create these little fantasies. I actually loved writing songs as a child, which is why I actually wrote. I'm just gonna put this right here. I'm just gonna put this right here. Um, I wrote a 21 song musical for this, and it is produced. So once somebody reads this book, they can actually listen to the book as a musical. But so one of the first things I loved to do was write songs. And then as I got older, I, went to college and I majored in English literature and education. So I became a teacher of English and writing. And then I was teaching at that time seventh graders. And if you know anything about seventh grade novels, they have no symbolism in them. They are just like quirky little tales of, just for fun. It's just like reading, and they're doing like things for fun, and it's hilarious. And I had just drained my brain of 4 years of lots and lots of hard symbolism in all those English classes that I took, and I wanted nothing to do with it ever again. So I wrote a really funny comedy for adults, um, and it is still funny. It is called Dog Breath. It is a comedy for dog lovers, and it follows this guy who smells dog breath for a living. It is not my genre, apparently. I didn't ever win any awards for it, but it did get me in the track of trying to write a novel. And then eventually, probably about 10 years later, I came up with the idea of Shadow. At the time, it was called Fostering Worlds. And these three books were, this one concept in my head. And I wrote it until it got too long, like 70,000 pages. And I was like, oh, apparently it's going to be a trilogy. And then I started going to writing critique groups, which I strongly recommend everyone do, because even though you think you're a fantastic writer, when you start getting feedback on a personal like level with 30 other people, and they're not trying to be harsh, they're trying to help you improve, you see that you have so much to improve. And if you really love writing, which I do, and I love the writing process, I fed off of that. I got there and I loved it when by my page was all marked up and needed editing by the end of, our critique sessions. Like, that made me happy. But anyway, I digress. So, why did I come into writing? Basically, probably just a way to express myself. And I landed in sci-fi fantasy because that was truly the world that I loved. I loved Star Trek growing up. My mom and I would watch lots of Star Trek, and I read a lot of dystopian novels as like a teen, and that's kind of what they give you in high school, is a lot of dystopian books. So I ended up with a dystopian afterlife, and so they use their magical powers to fight the demons, and they realize that this perfect world that they've been saved and brought to isn't quite as perfect. But unlike a lot of dystopian worlds where they're like, we're going to take over the government, or we're going to escape and we're going to go to some other little land, they try to figure out how to make the world better. And that's when they make a team and go into this dark part of Kalani, which Kalani means the heavens, by the way. So it's a dystopian afterlife. It's not heaven like where God lives. It's just like kind of like a waiting place before like the resurrection, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it does.
Okay. People get confused because they're like, some of my reviews go along the lines of, it was an amazing book, but I would hate to be in this heaven. And I'm like, it's not quite it's not quite what, it's not supposed to be. It's like the good place and the bad place. If you've ever seen, it's all on one planet. But the bad place is kept in these place called the Mist of Despair. And I grew up very, very religious. I never liked the idea that people were stuck in one side or the other. And so that was probably my mind trying to fix that. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And when you brought up that property, the first thing that comes to my mind, because this is what got me into that particular IP, which in this case is the iconic speech he gives to Alfred Woodard's character. I forget it. Why am I blanking on her name? But it's the speech where he says, the line must be drawn here, this far, no further, and I will make them pay for what they've done. I mean, Patrick Stewart is one of the many gifts to mankind, but I mean, Picard is so awesome, and First Contact is such a great film. If you want to know what Star Trek is, that's a great entry point because it literally takes place like before the events of how Star Trek came to be in a way. So because it's
Yeah.
a what do you call it? It's a period. It's a timepiece. They go back in time. So
This
minor
is
spoiler
true.
though. Minor
It
spoiler for that though, but it's time travel, it's sci-fi, it's adventure, and it's Picard and his crew at their absolute best. So if you don't know
yeah.
what Star Trek is, watch First Contact, and you'll thank me in the morning. I promise you.
It hurts my soul when I'm at these book events and I'm like, okay, so, and I'm explaining the book and I come to
Yes.
the part where,
Mhm.
I want to tell them something and I'm like, okay, so do you remember in Star Trek when Spock can send his mind across the galaxy?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you do, but they're like, no, I don't even know what Star Trek is. Like I've heard of it. My parents talk about it, but I've never seen it. And I'm like, what? You're ruining this for me. But Zach can send his soul across the universe and talk to someone, like soul to soul. And I call it soul gazing. But there's these references and I'm trying to like reference things that I know that inspired me and they mean nothing to this generation, like my Stargate things where I'm like, oh, you remember like in the Gould, or you remember like the Wraith in Stargate, and they're like, no, I've never even heard of that show. I'm like, no, you're killing me, you're killing me.
It's a
Okay,
bit of
now I
a
gotta like think of something else to like,
yeah.
associate it with.
It's a bit of a bummer when I go to some of these conventions or other events, and people tell me that they've never seen a Star Wars movie. I'm like, excuse me, because I dropped the whole Wayne's World routine on them. I'm like, excuse me, baking powder. You've never seen stuff like what? What is going on? That franchise has been around for 50. I mean, we're going on almost, but we can round up. We can say
And
it,
there's
even though
so many remakes of it. How did you
that's what I'm
not get a
saying.
part
Like
of it?
it's been around for 50 years, and I've seen the original trilogy dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I've seen, heck, I'll even admit this, and I've admitted this before, but I'll say it again. I saw Force Awakens 5 times in the theater, and I don't regret it. I saw Rogue One 2 or 3 times in the theater. I don't regret it. Star Wars had at least some of the movies, but definitely the books. Oh my gosh, the books. There are some of the greatest stories that, and this is coming from somebody who's not like, I respect the sci-fi genre, but I'm not the like, I'm a fan of it to a point, but I'm not like an uber fan of, like, for example, if you were to look at my bookshelf right now, it would not be a majority of sci-fi themed novels, and that's okay. That's okay. It's just that certain sci-fi books or movies or TV series, because we've talked about them a few times already, work for me where it doesn't seem like it's complicated and convoluted. That's why
Mhm.
Star Wars is so easy, well, easy / accessible. It's very, very good to me. Force Awakens, very, very good to me. So, and I've read Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. I've read what's the other one called? Dark Disciple, right? Christy Golden. That's a great Star Wars one-off. I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to get into sci-fi, one of the other ways you can do that without having to watch 60,000 Star Wars movies and TV series, read the books because they're really
Yeah.
good. I'm just saying. That's just me. I mean, I can't
There
speak for
was one,
everybody.
I can't remember what it was. Is my husband and I were trying to listen to it
Mhm,
in one of the Star Wars books.
mhm,
Um, and the audiobook was driving me crazy because the narrator was so good, but
mhm.
every time they went up into space, they didn't just have like the sound effects stayed on during the entire like flight, and so there was like this weird sound in the background and I was like, this is too distracting for me, I cannot do it. But
Okay.
yes, I love accessible sci-fi fantasy. I feel like that's what my thing is, because I cannot read like really hard sci-fi when they're like the quantum theory of this and this and this. And I often try to remind people when they tell me, I don't, I get this a lot.
Mhm,
Um, they'll say, I don't read sci-fi or fantasy. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you didn't like the Hunger Games. And they're like, oh, well, that wasn't sci-fi. And I'm like, actually, it was sci-fi fantasy. A dystopian world is
mhm,
sci-fi fantasy. It's literally
mhm.
under sci-fi fantasy. And then I'm like listing all of these like books they didn't realize were sci-fi fantasy.
Oh my goodness, that's
Like,
crazy.
I know.
Amazing. Amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It's absolutely amazing. One of the few times this has happened. And by the way, for those of you just tuning in, welcome to And I Quote with Jolene Fine, our guest of honor for the week. Don't forget to like and share this with your closest friends. If you have any questions for Jolene, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to hear from you. One of the things I rarely, if ever, do is read the book before going to see the book to film adaptation. So for me, at one point, one of my brothers was a teacher at a school, and his students convinced him to read The Hunger Games because they said, "Oh, it's so good, it's so good." And then I get a text from my brother. He's like, "Ryan, you gotta read this series. It's called The Hunger Games." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, just read it. It's so good. You got to read it." So I read the first book, The Hunger Games, which is the simple title, and I saw the movie a couple weeks later. And that never happens. I always see a movie long before I ever even consider reading the book because I'm a visual person. I prefer to just watch something and get it over with. But saw the movie, read the book, saw the movie, noticed some of the things they took because all movies take creative liberties with stories. They've been doing it
Right.
since the beginning of time. We all know this. But I said to myself, you know what? Despite the few creative liberties they took with the first installment, I really like this movie and I love the book. The book is fantastic. So much so that recently, a couple weeks ago, and this is on our social media. If it isn't on certain parts of our social media, it'll be there soon. Trust me, I believe. I bought all 5 Hunger Games books because Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out a year or two ago in theaters. People liked it. And now people are saying, oh, Sunrise of the Reaping is such a great book and the movie's going to be coming out next year, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and buy all 5 so that I can go back, read them all, refamiliarize myself with Panem and the districts,
Mhm.
and then go and watch Ballad of
I
Songbirds and
love
Snakes
them.
and then go and see
Actually,
Sunrise and the
Suzanne
Reaping.
Collins is one of my favorite authors. I absolutely love her. Um, the last book, I have loved all of them. Though I feel like the last couple of books, she does this weird thing now where she's starting to put like quote literature in it. Like one of them was The Raven. And so instead of just quoting The Raven once, it brings up the entire, almost the entire like poem or the short story. It's like repetitive at least 8 times. By the time I was done with that book, I was like, I never want to hear The Raven, which was also one of my favorite things from Poe ever. I never want to hear it again, ever, ever. It got quoted way too much.
That's interesting. Quoth the Raven, nevermore. Sorry.
I know.
I
I
had
was
to
just
do. I
like,
mean, it's a
what
Maryland
is
thing, and I'm in Maryland, so it's kind of a Maryland thing.
Oh, okay.
Just
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. Sorry. Edgar Allan Poe's kind of synonymous with Baltimore. So yeah.
Oh, I
Now,
hadn't even thought
I
about
don't.
that.
Yeah. I don't live particularly in Baltimore. I live in a different part of Maryland, respectively. But still, there's Edgar Allan Poe grave there. There's the museum. There's a whole bunch of stuff dedicated to, and hence the reason the football team was named after his poem, The Raven.
Yeah.
The
Speaking
Baltimore
of another
Ravens.
author who is amazing at world building, J.K. Rowling. I was having a conversation with my dad today about because he's listening to her crime novels,
Oh.
and I was like, I'm not reading that. I'm not reading
Mhm.
that because I'm not ruining
Mhm.
the Harry Potter image I've got going on here, and I absolutely love her world building. I just did like a reread of it as well, and then I was thinking, you know what, I loved the books, but now I'm thinking that she possibly is the best world builder ever. It's like so creative, of the like a sorting hat that like talks to you, like what.
Yeah. And
It's
then
just so fun,
yeah. And then you get Harry saying, "Not Slytherin, no."
I know.
He's like
And then like,
begging and pleading with
yeah.
that hat. And I remember seeing the movie, folks. I've seen them all. And he's like, "Not, but you could be great, you know." Anyway, sorry. Enough about the sorting hat. What I do want to know, outside of the sorting hat and his itty bitty little craziness that goes on in his warped mind,
Mhm.
what are some of the rewards for you about being a writer?
Well, I love meeting my readers. That I love seeing them. A lot of times, I do a lot of shows, usually in the same kind of areas, and I will see them again. I have this little wheel that everyone spins. They come to my table, they spin the wheel, and I say it's called the Wheel of Destiny, so that they see what character they will be in my series. And a lot of times people will be like, they remember. They remember every single thing. Every single character is like, oh, I was this and I was this and I was this. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna be something different this time. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I love it. And I love like when you do multiple day things and say like they bought your book on Saturday and then like they only bought book one and they started to read it and then they come back on Sunday and they're like, I loved it so much, I have to have the rest of the series. And you're like, you know, that almost, buy it the first time already, that's great too. I'm not going to say do that, but it's so validating when they do that.
Absolutely, 100%. That's fantastic stuff. Why not buy one where you can have all 31 flavors?
I know.
It's like Baskin Robbins. Anyone ever remember that business from when we were kids? I think there were some of
I think we still have it
Yeah,
here.
we do. They're still, but they're not as, it's not. Let me put it to you this way: things aren't as easy and simple as they were back in the '90s when everything was so simple. We come home from school, turn on the TV, watch Fox Kids, watching Saved by the Bell, whatever the heck it was, and then you just enjoy life. Don't have to worry about responsibilities like paying bills, finding a place to live, finding a job to pay those bills. It's just adulting is overrated, fellas. It really is. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's not bloody easy. But on the flip side of the fence, though, what are some of the challenges about being a writer?
um Well, I don't know that there's a lot of challenges as far as being a writer. There's a lot of challenges of being an indie author, where you have to market your own books and constantly be on social media. I actually had deleted all of my social media until I tried to market my books, and I realized that was really the only way that I was going to sell books. And I have taken to it. I do quite enjoy making cute little videos, but it can be quite exhausting. And so there is that. There is that lovely newsletter that you have to put out because you have to endorse other people. You have to read lots of other people's books in order for them, to share other people's books so that they'll share your books. There's a lot that goes on in it. I actually created this cover myself. So because I did actually all the illustrations in this book myself. So when I had created the this one, I was like, this is so pretty. I bet that would make a pretty cover. I'm gonna try my hand, and I have a cover artist. My cover artist is amazing. Shout out to her, Aspiring Covers. She makes fabulous covers. Um, but I just wanted to try it because I had done all the art. You know, it is a little bit harder than I thought, like aligning things. But it's slowly. You seem like you are literally taking on every single aspect of the field. It's a lot more than just writing.
Yeah, it's about wearing multiple hats, folks. Not a sorting hat, though.
Not a fun one.
Yeah, it's not like one of those sorting hats where he's got that sinister look on his. I can't believe I'm saying this. A hat actually has a personality and a face. What the heck is going on?
I
Uh,
know, it's so cute.
it's one for the, what do you call it? Here's another pun intended. It's one for the books, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just put it. I walked right into that one, didn't I? Yeah, we got problems. I'm just joshing you, but I'm just joshing myself. But anyway, what advice would you give to aspiring writers out there?
Well, don't mark it backwards, which is what I feel like I'm doing. Is if even if you don't like social media, if you know that you're going to be a writer, that is you are dead set on it. Get you a Bookstagram. Start sharing your reviews. Start making these videos. Start building it up so that you can get followers and start talking about like the stories that you want to create even before you create them. And I think that would help. I have seen that those people that have done that are a lot more successful faster once they've published. I have had lots of success. I have sold over 3,000 books, but it is because I have gone to over 40 events and I am on constantly marketing my books. I'm constantly on newsletters. I'm constantly reviewing other people. Like I'm putting in a lot of effort and probably not as much as I would have had to had I done it differently.
There you go. Yeah.
And
Understandably
definitely
so.
join a critique group, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. Well, I wouldn't say it's funny. It's actually very, it's helpful because 5 years ago, during the unfortunate situation we were all in, known as the lockdown, I did these virtual programs through my local library. Support your local libraries, folks. They matter too, and there's resources available to you that you may not have thought about before, but they are actually available. So check those out. But my point is, we did a writer's workshop, and this is my first stab at writing. I've written a few things here and there, but I had to do those for school. I got like 1 or 2 pieces of poetry published in our literary magazines back then, but that was a different. That was long ago. That doesn't, it's not hashtag not canon. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but my point is, I did these workshops. I had an idea for a story, and it was a Western because I like Westerns. I watched, The Quick and the Deads, the 3:10 to Yumas, the Clint Eastwoods, the Unforgivens, the Man with No Name trilogy, the Dollars trilogy, that sort of stuff. And I started writing a story. And during these workshops, they would tell you, okay, think about these ideas for your setting. Think about this when you're putting together your characters. Think about this and that and the other. And they said, okay, first 30 minutes, we're going to go over the slides. And then after that, we want you to write. Just write for an hour. Just write. Just go. And then we'll come back. We want you to read what you have thus far, and we're going to give you some constructive feedback. Right. So I did that. And to my shock and awe and surprise is that, hey, this sounds good. You may want to think about doing this, that, and the other, but this is a good start. This is really good. I said, really? So I was like, I was shocked. I was shocked. So I continued on with it. Eventually, it became a story. Unfortunately, I, put myself in a corner, even though no one puts baby in a corner, and I made it out to be a cliffhanger at the end. And that's not a good thing to do when it comes to writing a short story, at least in my opinion. I prefer to just have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's called a 3-act structure, ladies and gentlemen. And I said, darn it, now I got to write a sequel. Gosh darn it. Now, granted, I haven't written the sequel for that story, but years later, fast forward to was it late? I wouldn't say it's late 2024, more so early 2025. And I started listening to this podcast about men's adventure fiction hosted by Nate and Luke of the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast. What's up, guys? Love you like brothers. And they said that we're going to start a writer's Discord. And I joined the Discord. And because I joined that, I got when I was talking to these other writers and hearing what they were doing and all their ideas and all this other stuff, it got my creative wheels turning again, to be perfectly honest with you. And then I just started writing. I just went crazy. I'm like, I got these ideas. I got to put them down. I got to put them down on paper. I got to do this, right? So I just started going to town, Jolene. I started going to town. And then one thing leads to another. And they're like, hey, we're looking for Westerns for this anthology we're putting together. If you want a submission, just email it to this address. And I said, okay. So I wrote a Western, turned it in. And once again, much to my surprise, it said, hey, congratulations, your story's going to end up in this anthology. I'm like, what? So earlier on this year in 2025, in July, more specifically, ladies and gentlemen, I got a short story called Wolf of the West, which is in Western Tales Volume 1 that you can get on Amazon. Don't worry, the links are in the description below. Hashtag always be promoting. And it's like, okay, now that I got a little bit of, I got a short story published, I got a little bit of experience under my belt. Now I know I can do this. I know I can do it because writing is meant to be fun anyway, right? So I got all these ideas. I've written them down in notebooks, sheets of paper, in little notebooks on my desk here, and I can't wait to get them out. I mean, it's hard to find time to write when you work 40 plus hours a week and you got all this other stuff called adulting responsibilities. But when it does happen and you get into that groove, it's fun. I think writing is fun. If you had asked me this 20 years ago, that I'd be, Ryan, you're going to be a writer, right? I'm like, I would have said you were crazy. But here we are, folks. 2025 is just full of surprises. Am I right?
Yeah. It is a big jump. I don't think that people realize that it's a huge difference between writing short stories than which you're trained to do. You're trained to write short stories,
right?
Because they don't want to read a novel. Teachers don't. So they train you to write a short story in middle school or high school or elementary school. And then when you want to write a novel, it's a completely different animal. So, but out of curiosity, I'm going to share my favorite writing book, and
Sure.
if you have one, I'm going to ask you what's
Sure.
yours.
Mhm.
But mine, I found in college. It's called Making Shapely Fiction,
Mhm.
and it takes you through how to set up different scenes, and so that you're not approaching every scene of your novel the exact same way. Because I find that a lot of new writers do that, and so um and then starting off, you know what is another thing before I ask you that is, I was surprised on how well TV series, like if you find a really good TV series
Mhm.
that hooks you from the beginning and hooks you at the end of it so that you're wanting to binge that show, um, then use that show as a pattern for how to make your chapters, because there's something about it that it starts out with, like, this line that draws you in, and it's ending on a line that's making you want to read the next chapter. And that is another thing that a lot of new writers struggle with. But what is one of the books, or what are one of the books that you have enjoyed as a writing?
Ooh, as a writing resource book, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sorry, because otherwise, if we're talking about fiction, we could go all night with this one. Have you seen? I mean, you can't. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I mean, if you take a look back here and see this bookshelf of all TBR, I got tons of titles for you. But anyway, that that's neither here nor there. Writing resource. So I bought a bunch of them because there's a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. His name is Charles F. Millhouse. He's a pulp fiction adventure writer from who runs Stormgate Press, stormgatepress.com. Great website, great storytelling there. And well done, Charles F. Millhouse. You're the man. Well, he's one of my favorite writers, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, he recommended certain books on his podcast called A Writer's Journey, which is the name of his show. You can find it on YouTube. It's available. It's free. And one of the books that I really liked is it's called 5-Minute Writing Prompts. And it has 500 different prompts where it just gives you a prompt. It's very simple. It's like a short sentence, and it gets your creative juices flowing. It's like, okay, try this prompt. Like, the FBI is in search of a missing person, and they go to the house to where this person used to live, but they seem to find a little bit of evidence there. Go with that. Just write something that is about that, or continues on with what the investigation of the story. Do you see what I mean?
Right.
So I think writing prompts are a great source, to be honest with you, because if I'm kind of stalled, or I just don't feel like I don't feel like writing because I got so much other stuff on my mind, like adulting. I just open this book to a random prompt, whatever it is, because like I said, it has 500 of these things. And it could say, oh, there's a cat who's roaming the neighborhood, but then he stumbles upon a dead body. Write something around that. I'm just using it as a
Right.
quote unquote example. And I'm like, ooh, okay, all right. I've watched a lot of crime drama, television series. I could think of something that's kind of related to this, right? So I like that one. I believe it's called 5-Minute Writing Prompts. I forget who the writer is. I apologize, but that is something that stands out to me as a good writing resource. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones too. I haven't started this one yet, but I really am looking forward to reading the Conflict Thesaurus. So I heard that one's good.
Yeah, when I was younger, of course, they didn't have a thesaurus. I mean, possibly, I don't remember there being a thesaurus on a computer. I
Oh.
think there was a spell check. I don't remember if there was a thesaurus, but I had a physical thesaurus, and this is the way I was taught: was you read with a dictionary and you write with a thesaurus. So anytime I would come up with words, I would try immediately to make them better as a young child, so that now words are, when I'm writing them, I'm not a very verbal person, as you can see. I stutter over my words, but when I write, they just flow. I don't like have to be searching for like a new word for walked. It's like strolled and strutted and sauntered, and I know all of these words because I was obsessed with thesauruses.
Well, that definitely helps. Yeah, the ones that my friend told me about was like, there's one called the Conflict Thesaurus. There's an emotional thesaurus.
I have have that one.
Oh, do you?
I do. I opened it. I bought
Mhm.
it because somebody. It's right here.
Oh, is it
Actually,
now?
yes.
Oh,
It's
there it
on
is. I see it.
my list of things to do. I opened it and I was like, so basically it's like Humbled, and then it'll give you like all these like physical attributes of, but then I just was like, oh, these are all kind of things that you would, I mean, I don't know. I I probably should have looked at it more before I got it. Imagining how people are acting is not my problem. Like I can imagine what someone looks like when they're anxious, So I didn't actually really need it. But if you have problems with that, this would be amazing. I have thought about doing like some, because some of these things it'll be like anxiety and it'll be like twitching, and I want to choose like some like weird videos where you're just like, okay, guess what emotion I'm supposed to be, because it's like your body's twitching, like the way that it's described is like jarring, like it's not like subtle like it actually is, anyway.
I got you. I understand. No worries here, folks. No worries here. Any special memories so far for you from being at book signings or other events, whether you're there as a vendor or there as an attendee?
um some of them,
Mhm.
so generally my favorite moments are when I have people that will come up to me and they'll go like this. They'll be like, does your books have like spice in them? And I'm like, they don't. And they're like, oh, awesome, awesome. It's so hard. And then they'll go on this like tirade about how hard it is to find clean books, these days. And I'm like, I'm here for you. I'm here. I'm like, right here. And then the other people that like get me super, super excited, and they'll like hug me and everything. They're just beyond ecstatic because it really is actually pretty hard to find these days, because everyone's definition also of clean is different. They think like a YA book means that it's clean, which is not, the case. A YA book could have lots of spice in it, or it could have lots and lots of curse words, and that's not a clean book. Not that there's anything wrong with those other books. The other one is when someone finds out, like a Christian finds out that it's got Christian symbolism in it, because I'll talk to people in these book events and I will talk to them, oh, it's like magic, and there's like the ruler's spirit is inside the crystal, which is called the Leahona, and that power within the crystal gives them their magical powers, and it like wields light, but they have to call on the power in order to use it. And they're like, that sounds a lot like the Holy Ghost. And I'm like, does it? That's crazy. And they're like, it's a Christian book. And I'm like, maybe. And they're like, because I'm going to buy it if it is. And I'm like, oh, and then it is. But anyway, they get super, super excited too.
Oh, that's cool. Surprises abound.
I know, right?
It's just yeah, exactly. It's just one of it's just one of those things. Who is an author, living or dead, that you would love to have a conversation with about writing or just about life in general?
Um, well, okay. So this is probably gonna sound odd because he's another indie author.
Hmm.
But Jake Gabriel Gates writes the Luck God series, and I am friends with him on TikTok, which just means I like his videos, and sometimes he likes mine, I think. But he's got like lots of followers, and I've he's comments on my videos. Just I'm downplaying it. But anyway, so we're friends on TikTok. But I love his writing. I think it is as good as the Hunger Games. He has like a very unique magic system. Like the Luck God series is based on playing cards, and them like like characters are the playing cards, and they have like a unique little magic system based on luck. Anyway, I would love to have like a one-on-one on how he became a writer and some dive into some of his books, more. I would probably totally geek out. I like to say, and pretend, like to say that I have an author crush, where you just love someone's writing so much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Kind of like a celebrity crush, right?
Yeah, it's like a celebrity crush. It's not like you
Mhm.
actually have a crush on them. You have like a crush on their writing because they're a great writer.
Yeah, yeah, there is that. I mean, if we're talking about that, I mean, my favorite writer of the moment that I really enjoy reading their stories and their books is Bobby Nash. And Bobby Nash is a crime fiction writer, more particularly. He's an indie author from the
Mhm.
great state of Georgia, USA. And he writes a series of stories called Snow, which focuses on his main character, Abraham Snow, who used to be a government agent, but now he's a private eye working for his grandfather's security firm
Mhm.
called Snow Security. Hashtag Fresh Snow is how he
Ooh.
markets his books. And it's very, very good to me. And his latest one is coming out, I believe, next week within this series. There are, I want to say, how many is it now, Bobby? 7 right now. The 8th one's about to come out. And then there's a series of Snow shorts written by other writers that have contributed to the franchise over the last year or two, I want to say. Snow
Mhm.
Shorts Volume 1, Snow Shorts Volume 2. It's all available at abrahamsnow.com. Hashtag always promote your friends. And this is his new one coming out next week, Snow Island. Now, when I look at this cover, all I see is da 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 da. I got H50 on the brain, son. So I cannot wait to read this thing. I think Snow is the best, in my opinion. It's the
It looks
best.
like 007.
Yes,
Yeah.
a little bit like James Bond. Yeah. So it's a mixture. Basically, this is Bobby Nash's tribute to. It's an homage to the detective shows of the 70s and the 80s. Like
Okay, gotcha.
Rockford Files. Not Knight Rider, but Rockford Files, Dragnet. Just stuff relating to that, if that makes any sense. But this cover is ridiculously good looking, and I got H50 vibes for days on this cover, and I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read it. Every time he makes an announcement that hashtag Fresh Snow is coming, I'm like, okay, I don't like winter, but I like Abraham Snow. He's a cool dude. I like him a lot. So, yeah, it's been very, very good to me. Bobby Nash, very, very good to me. He's a good friend of mine. He and I are like, really, really good friends. And he's been on my show a couple of times. He's done a few other shows for us here at Anti-Quote Studios, and he's great. He's great. So if you ever want to dive into crime fiction or read something with a bit of fun and flair to it, BobbyNash.com is the website you're going to want to check out. I'm just saying. There you go. Free plugs for everybody, guys. Free plugs for everybody. That's what we do here. But hey, hey, I'm just curious though. If someone's not familiar with this, Kalani Showers of Destiny, what's your elevator pitch?
Two teens set off, or two teens come into immortality, and they have to. I am sorry, I'm not very good at that. Sorry. So two teens arrive on this like immortal planet, and they have to choose their destiny, and they end up going into the darkness and saving souls from despair. So
There you go.
see what happens.
There you go.
But it is a dual point of view, so that's cute.
Mm-hmm. All good things. All good things. At least you don't. Hopefully, you don't hear the song playing in the back of your mind when you're reading these stories. Those poor unfortunate souls. Sorry, that's a Disney movie.
Oh no, I don't.
That's
No.
you don't remember the Little Mermaid?
I do, but no, yeah, I don't like. I do remember the song. I
Okay.
don't associate it with no.
No, it's okay. I kind of went to left field there with that one. I apologize, but sometimes I just got pop culture references on the brain.
You're good.
It just happens sometimes. But someone who's not familiar with the newest installment, Fostering Worlds, what can people expect from this wonderful story?
Okay, so this has magic and it's like cosmic wars. There are spirit animals, spirit beings. It is a lovers to enemies. No one will turn out the same. It starts with deception and it ends in sacrifice. And it is a retelling of the War in Heaven. Actually, it's a reimagining of the War in Heaven.
Ah,
So
all good. All good. Well, congratulations on all of this.
thank
All
you.
of this. Fabulous stuff. Fabulous stuff. And I like the cover design too. Who did the cover designs for Kalani?
So Aspiring Covers, she is out of the UK,
Mhm.
did these covers, and she did an amazing job. Like you can see the darkness, the shape-shifting demons coming to attack them in it. It was, and you can see she actually, I mean, she created everything. She created like their outfits, but she also created these necklaces that are super important in the story. They're called like leohonas that have like their magic. They're like the amulets. But if you see it really detailed, they're identical to how I described them in the book.
That is great. Fabulous
Very
stuff.
impressive work.
It really is. I gotta say, those are some really good covers. If I do say so myself. If Hollywood came to you and said we want to adapt this as a series or a movie, how awesome would that be? Number one, and number two, do you have any actor or actresses you could see potentially playing some of these parts?
I have never thought of that. I don't follow a lot of actors and actors. I'm like, oh, they look really cool in the thing, but I don't know any of their names, to be honest with you. Um, so no, I haven't. I would be thrilled. It would take a lot of CGI, because my world is a holographic world. So everything you would have to see it and it would have to disappear. It would I actually did have I went to this one thing in Michigan, and I talked to a couple of indie filmmakers, and I was like, unless you're amazing with CGI, I don't want to let you do it. Like, I appreciate like the offer of like being interested, but it's better not to have a book ruined than and not if you can't do it correctly, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, totally makes sense. I can understand that because one of the covers you just showed us a moment ago kind of reminds me. The female on the cover of it reminds me of Emma Watson from Harry Potter.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
so I could potentially see her
Everyone
playing one of the
gets,
characters.
yeah, maybe like her daughter.
Yeah,
I mean, she's
yeah.
probably my age,
Oh,
right? I mean, how
maybe.
old is Emma?
I'd have to. Do we?
She's like 36 or something. Okay, I'm like 46, so not my age. But yeah, does kind of look like her, because she's got brown hair and blue eyes like I do.
According to our research here, she's only 35 years of age.
I
Hmm.
said 36. I was
Okay,
close.
you were
But
pretty much.
she couldn't,
Oh.
yeah. So, but to be like a 16-year-old, you'd want a 16-year-old to
No,
play a
you're right.
16-year-old.
No, you're right. You're
I
right. It's
mean,
just that
or
one
at
of the
least
characters
like
on the cover
20.
kind of reminded me of her.
Yes, yes, I get that because it does have a lot of Harry Potter vibes in it because of the magic, um, and like wielding and then going into like the dark and having like, that evil kind of thing. And then there's three of them also, kind of, I mean, I think even if we don't do it intentionally, subconsciously, everything that we have ever experienced or taken into our souls will reflect in our writing, even if we're not trying to, if that makes so. But my main character is definitely me. She is literally a foster child. She was hurt in the foster care system, and she has a hard time overcoming and accepting her mantle as the chosen one and being a representative of someone to bring other people in the light. Like she doesn't, and I still struggle with that. Like that how after everything that I've been through and done, like how can you choose me to write this story? But that's just part of the what it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand. I can understand that. We all go on a journey of life here, folks. But just remember one thing: with great power comes great responsibility. Sorry, had to throw it in
Yep.
there. Had to
You're
throw it in there.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching those movies, so yeah, they're awesome. OG Toby Maguire fan right here. Toby Maguire for just saying. because I grew up watching the Spider-Man animated series. And then when we got the movie in 2002, Jolene, I lost my ever-loving mind.
Really?
Well, yeah, because when you grow up watching the greatest network, at least one of the greatest children's networks of all time, known as Fox Kids, when they actually had a brain and knew what they were doing. When you got off the bus from school and you ran into that household and you sit your keister down in front of the TV with a bowl of cereal, whatever it was, that was your snack food or whatever, and you would turn on Fox Kids, you would watch the following. You would either be watching X-Men, Spider-Man, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That was an awesome show for sure. Or you're watching stuff on Kids WB, whether it's X-Men Evolution or Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. That's a deep cut if I ever heard one. And then you flip on Saturday nights. It's Saturday night in the house, and you're watching something called Snick, which is Saturday night Nickelodeon programming on Nickelodeon.
I do remember that. So my TV years are weird because, again, I was in the foster care system. So I didn't actually watch TV until I was 10 years old or 9 years old when I went into my last foster home that ended up adopting me at 21. So I had never experienced TV or chocolate, by the way, until then.
Wow. My goodness gracious.
Or Christmas.
The holiday season. There's another one for you, the holiday season. And that's coming up soon, folks. Before you know, we're in spooky season right now, but then once that's concluded, then we get into November. And then before you know, we're going to be in December for the real special holiday season.
Time to be thinking about those book gifts.
That's a valid point. So yeah. And we got plenty of great gift ideas here at And I Quote channel. So make sure be watching this episode, or you've been watching some of our previous episodes, because we actually just had an interview with indie fantasy writer Cal Logan earlier today. That was a lot of fun. Way to go, Cal. Way to go, man. Shadowbane. That was something else. But I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to Jolene Fine for being our guest on this week's episode of And I Quote. Jolene, congratulations to you, first and foremost, on everything you've accomplished and everything you're going to accomplish with your writing, your stories, and all that wonderful, wonderful stuff. If someone wants to know more about you and follow you on social media, where can they find you? I
am Jolene Fine at everywhere, but you can go to jolenefine.link and that'll take you everywhere. But I just use Jolene Fine. So it's pretty easy. JOLENEFINE. Pretty easy to find me.
Simple and to the point.
Yeah.
Fantastical stuff. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jolene. We really appreciate it. And stick around. I am going to speak to you here again momentarily. So don't go anywhere, you superstar, you. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me across all forms of social media, simply at And I Quote Channel. If you want to find out more about Jolene Fine and her wonderful stories, where am I pointing to? Where is it? There it is. The QR code at the top right-hand corner of your screen will take you directly to her website. And those links are also located in the description down below of this episode. So if you want to check out the QR code, scan it with your mobile device or your phone, check it out right here. Or you can do so by checking out the links in the description. So there you go. Friendly neighborhood reminders abound, folks. They abound. But follow me across all forms of social media, simply at And I Quote Channel. We do And I Quotes on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, and then we do movie watch-alongs where we celebrate movies that turn a certain age. Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Also, want to give a huge shout out to the fine people over there at Veritas Entertainment. My short story, Wolf of the West. Yeah. Is a part of that great anthology called Western Tales Volume 1 by Veritas Entertainment. You can get yourself a copy on ebook, paperback, or hardcover. Link is in the description down below, so check it out. Also, we're on the road to 5,000. Once we hit 5,000 subscribers, we'll have a live stream celebration that will include special giveaways that you, the person who's watching or listening to this program right now, are going to be eligible to win. Also, the changing of the seasons is happening. So we got hoodies, we got shirts, we got stickers you can add to your water bottle. Links are in our social media bios and down in the description down below. So check all that stuff out. Check out the swagger and treat yourself to some great stories and buy some wonderful books for that special person in your life. Just throwing that out there. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of this program and supporting us. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. And remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Koepp at CKOEPP.com today.
I've been a superhero for a long time. It used to be so simple. You catch the bad guys, do the right thing, save the world. Then I met Aiden, and things got complicated.
Iris recruited me as a kid and turned me into their own personal weapon. I couldn't see any way out until I met Marty. But now we're going to burn their entire organization down if we can.
Forces of Nature, books 1 and 2, Scorcher and Thin Ice are available now wherever books are sold online. See www.kellygentner.com.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.